believe that we are on the threshold of a great opportunity in this country to cause a quantum jump in quality of higher education. If we do not do it, the coming generations of people of this country, or for that reason the humanity at large, would never forgive us, because we belong to a country where the word jnana, pragyana and vijnana have been over-echoed right from the early dawns of the civilization. The whole world has I wish to congratulate Hindu Education Board for causing that policy shift which is needed, in fact, in higher education. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Will it come? Respected chairman of the session and the organizers of the conference and friends, I am delighted to be here from Los Angeles and grateful for being given this wonderful opportunity to share with you some glimpses of the ways in which the Indian diaspora is striving to raise the quality bar of higher education. First, it's not coming. Huh? Will you? Huh? It already went here. And you want here what? Yes. Okay. First, a few words about the Indian diaspora. There are about 30 million or 3 crore Indians spread in almost every country of the world. Indians in US are close to 3 million or 30 lakhs people. They are, according to the 2010 US Census and a recent Pew Research finding, the most educated and the highest per capita income among any other ethnic group. The number of Indians occupying prestigious academic leadership positions, such as presidents, chancellors, provosts, deans, head of the department, professors, is quite impressive. Indians have built close to 1,000 temples of worship in North America with an estimated investment of about $6 billion. However, their corresponding entry to also build the temples of learning or academic institutions has been relatively slow. I will share an overview of some of the organized efforts on an institutional level, one in Europe and one in USA. Briefly, the effort in Europe is being pioneered by a distinguished academician, Professor Balagangadhar at Ghent University in Belgium. Through India platform, he has made foundational contribution in reconceptualizing ways to study India and Indic civilization, different than the usual colonial and Eurocentric lens. One of the close associate of Dr. Balagangadhar is Dr. Chaitra from Bangalore. He is also quite actively working on the Indian scene. The other initiative is US based. It has been operating since early 2012 under the name of Dharma Civilization Foundation, or DCF. Its vision is to create academic and intellectual infrastructure in US mainstream universities for an accurate and authentic study, research, articulation
of Indic civilization, culture, its dharma traditions, knowledge systems, and spiritual and wisdom traditions. There are twofold aspects to this effort. The first one is the way India in general and Hindu society in particular is portrayed from school level up to the college level, and later on it also gets transmitted to news media, editorials, op-eds, TV panel discussions, museums, congressional hearing, etc. This needs to be addressed in a top quality scholarly way. India's study has to change. This I will call a negative aspect of the whole initiative, or what is called the Khandan aspect, or critiquing or responding to in a more non-emotional, in a very methodical and scholarly way, the misrepresentation that is going on. But there is also another very important, another objective. The Indian civilizational experience, its wisdom, insight, is capable of making valuable contribution to important global discourse on pressing challenges and problems faced by humanity. However, the Indian voice generally is conspicuous by its absence. This applied or engaged aspect of dharma needs further research and elaboration in contemporary idiom. So this we can call as Mandana aspect of the whole academic initiative. So I would like to very briefly summarize what are some of the DCF is striving to create. Number one, creating visiting professorship. Thus, Swami Vivekananda Visiting Professorship in Hindu Studies at USC, or University of Southern California in Los Angeles, has been funded. Number two, creating endowed chairs. The very first such a chair is recently being established at a cost of $2 million, named Thakkar Family DCF Endowed Chair in Indic Civilizational and Vedic Studies at University of California, Irvine, or UCI in Los Angeles. The third one is the academic centers. The DCF has started the Center for Dharma Studies with a full-time director at Graduate Theological Union, or what's called GTU, in Berkeley, California. It is one of the largest school of divinity in USA. There are three types of universities in America. The state-funded universities, like the SUNY or State University of New York system, or UC or University of California system, or UT or University of Texas system. Then the second one is the private universities like Harvard, Yale, Stanford, Columbia, etc. And the third one, which are about close to 200 schools of divinity, which produce MA and PhD in chaplaincy, in ministers, in religious leaders, and leaders of the NGOs, and a whole range of, they are all highly qualified people. They are called scholar practitioners. So GTU is collaborating with DCF and will be launching a fully accredited MA program in Hindu Studies from September 2015 and a PhD program from September 2016. Then we are also launching of professional journals. An academic field of study needs its own journal, and a journal in its turn also assists further development of a new field. DCF has launched and funding the International Journal of Dharma Studies, published by a world-renowned journal publisher called Springer, which is currently an online edition, and soon it will become also a print edition. The next one is institution building. DCF aspires and plans to initiate in the next 3 to 5 years a graduate institute of Hindu Dharma Studies at GTU in Berkeley. The next one, that it also is undertaking publishing of a thematic book series on different chosen themes, both for academicians and for lay public. The next one is conferences. DCF organized an international academic conference on the life and legacy of Swami Vivekananda in October 2013. I'm glad that Samir Somayaji was also there for that program, and he was one of the keynote speakers. This particular conference was aiming to create an alternative narrative on Vivekananda other than what has been portrayed, especially since 1980s, that Vivekananda's Neo-Hinduism is different than the classical Hinduism and is a product of the Western influence on Vivekananda. A second conference was held on yoga, meditation, and applied Hinduism in September 2014 at USC. Recently, in February of 2015, a Indic civilizational strategic retreat was held at Yes Vyasa in Bangalore, where about 86 scholars, 40 academicians, and 16 from overseas countries participated. And one of the most recent one, just last weekend, there is a very well-known university called Claremont University in Los Angeles. It organized one of the largest academic conference on ecological issues. Some 300 papers were read. So there, DCF collaborated there are multiple collaborating institutions, a 9-hour panel on Hindu and Indic thought and ecological challenges. We are also connecting and networking with individual scholars and institutions in North America, Europe, and India. The next one is critiquing existing methodologies of studying India. Up till now, we all are familiar, like colonial, post-colonial, Freudian, Marxist, postmodern, subaltern, but there are some problems. Each of these methods, if blindly applied for the study of India, can produce its own very, very specific type of distortion. For example, of course, there are some other challenges also, like area studies and cultural studies. Just I'll give one example. The subaltern study is a very fashionable theory, started in in France, and also in the University of Chicago. And what it did, many disadvantaged groups such as women, blacks, gays, Native Americans, and other colonial societies or which are under colonial rule were freshly studied from their own respective vantage point, and it offered a legitimacy to their voices. However, when it came to Hindu society, although it also had to suffer centuries of colonial foreign rule, somehow the whole story is presented as nothing but a domination of Brahmins or Brahmanism on Dalits, thus creating a fissure. And once again, the Hindu experience or Hindu concerns and issues were marginalized from any meaningful discussion, and actually dubbed as communal and anti-secular. So there is a need for creation of a whole new set of methodologies of how you study the Indic civilization. I'll go to the next one. To ensure a high-quality institution building, DCF is engaged in 4 types of resource mobilization. The first one is a large-scale engagement of the Dharma heritage community by hundreds and thousands of people participating in some symbolic manner, like we are taking a campaign where at least a person through his contacts will raise at least $1,000 by his own donation or through his relatives, friends, acquaintances, email contacts. $1,000 from 1,000 people, $1 million for establishing a Swami Vivekananda endowed chair at University of Southern California, or USC. So this is one mode. The second mode is endowed chair center scholarships through single family donor. And already one has happened. One very well-known nephrologist in Los Angeles, Dr. Usha Khan Thakkar, has given $1 million to create the first endowed chair in Indic civilizational and Vedic studies. The third one is through engagement of different Indian spiritual and religious institutions. I'm very glad to say that Swami Dayanand Saraswati has agreed to give a call to all his devotees around the world to create the Adi Shankara chair in Advaita Vedanta study at GTU, or Graduate Theological Union. And the process has begun, and probably in the next 2 years we should have a chair of that type. We want to create a critical mass of chairs, ultimately, which will not only offer courses, but will be able to produce a fresh new generation of scholars with PhD who can be then positioned in different universities around USA. Similarly, the ISKCON of Chowpatty, Mumbai, has agreed to initially start with a visiting professorship and later on an endowed chair in Prabhupada's name in Vaishnava studies. And Sri Sri Ravi Shankar has agreed to have a campaign to raise a Sri Sri Ravi Shankar chair in applied dharma at USC in Los Angeles. A few other institutions that are also a conversation has begun, although it may take a little time to ultimately come to the same level of final approval, is Amachi and Osho Community and Satya Sai Baba Trust and Swaminarayan or BAPS. Those are the institutions that also have been approached, and few others are yet to approach, like Baba Ramdev, etc. I'm sorry, Chinmay Mission also is thinking of starting some annual funding for a conference, which later on to on the centenary birth celebration of Swami Chinmayananda, to consider having a chair on his name. Because all these institutions have created their own very effective shops all over the world, but none of them in any significant way have entered the academic space. So to create some type of convergence of this major soft power of India through these different institutions, and also create a worthy space in American academia. Next one is creating a Indian Diaspora and Government of India partnership, where the community raises 50% of the money, whether, like I think you may remember that the External Affairs Ministry has a division which creates a visiting professorship. Currently there are about 92 chairs established by the External Affairs Ministry, but apparently there is no clear vision about what exactly India wants to achieve through them. So it is more used for scratching each other's back and some doing favor to different people, whereas China in 2004 made a decision that we shall create over 200 Confucius institutes all over the world, and today they have done that with a clear agenda that not only geopolitically but even civilizationally how to position China all over the world. So some such conversation is in a preliminary phase. The next one is engaging Indian businesses both in India and around the world, and that also some conversation has started, but it is yet to materialize. Next one. Just would like to comment that one of the guiding principle of the DCF's work is the concept of dharma. Dharma is a uniquely Indian conceptual category. It could serve as a foundational frame of reference or an abiding organizing principle. So the intellectual challenge in front of us is how, in the light of eternal principle of Sanatana Dharma, to define ever-evolving, context-sensitive, appropriate to the current age and time, a Yuga Dharma through these academic institutions. Multiple sources may contribute to it, but a rigorous academic contribution also will be an important source. The task for us is nothing short of creating world-class scholarship, outstanding thought leaders, critical thinkers, innovators, and creative minds. We have to create an ambience of combining the very best of the East and the West in the domain of higher education. I'll just end with one small comment. I was talking to a friend in Mysore called Dr. R. Balasubramaniam. He made a very interesting comment. The emphasis of the current government to single-mindedly emphasize the idea of development is very appropriate and understandable. But we need to think over that for 1800 years, according to Madison's study, India was able to achieve, and not only achieve, but sustain a very impressive GDP of 24 to 32%. So it must have had something unique in its civilizational gene that allowed to reach and maintain that type of economic performance. So unless we pay attention to identify, recognize, and nurture those civilizational genes, the idea of development alone may not be sustainable in the long run. So what DCF is hoping to do is to focus upon and pay attention to nurturing those civilizational genes through academic endeavor. Thank you very much.
We have had two excellent presentations. So we still have 15-20 minutes for this session before the next session starts. So we can have questions. I have already seen two hands being raised. So start with that.
My question to both Mr. P.B. Sharma and Mr. Shinde is, see, what are the problems? One is Government of India level policy making. Second one is the state level. Third one is the local level. Mindset. If the vision could be linked up with the local aspirations of the people, local district, local block, and the problem solving ability could be broken into that what is in my hand. So I put right down, these are things in my hand. These are the things in our hand. Probably,
Please be brief.
No, very brief. My point is, how do we accelerate the speed? What we are visualizing should be also implemented. So sorting out the problem areas, that is my question. So what can we do jointly, individually? And if you are doing it, then let us share it. That is Mr. Mode, my point. My concern is,
We understood. I think.
have you understood really?
Let us see.
Many things we think we understood, but we are hardly understood. Then why is the speed
No, but,
of seeing on the ground is less?
I would say that there will be many more questions. So
Very good. I think a good question. हमें दिल और दिमाग दोनों की ज़रूरत है प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करने के लिए. हमारे पास दिमाग है और दिल नहीं है तो हम समाज की समस्याओं को ना तो समझ पाएंगे ना उसको सॉल्व करने के लिए आगे बढ़ेंगे. आज जो मेरी मुसीबत है वो ये है कि ना तो मैं दिमाग अच्छा बना के दे पा रहा हूँ और दिल की बात तो करता ही नहीं, क्योंकि यूनिवर्सिटी में यू कैन नॉट टॉक ऑफ हार्ट एंड यू कैन नॉट टॉक ऑफ रियली मेकिंग पीपल स्पिरिचुअल, मेकिंग इवन गिविंग देम योगा. देयर वुड बी मैनी हु विल से क्यों हमको परेशान कर रहे हो. तो अभी तो सही मायने में निटी-गिटी पे ध्यान देना पड़ेगा. वी हैव टू गो बैक टू बेसिक्स, द वेरी पर्पज ऑफ एजुकेशन, हाउ दैट कैन बी रियली delivered within the campuses of university with a connect to the society, connect to the industry, understanding the aspirations of people, responding to their with sensitivity, responding to their needs and aspirations. ये अपने आप में एक बहुत बड़ा गंभीर मसला है. मैं समझता हूँ हमारी पॉलिसी डॉक्यूमेंट को इस विषय पर जितनी गहराई में जाना चाहिए जाए और ऐसे वर्केबल सॉल्यूशंस निकाल करके सामने रखें. लेकिन मैं इस बात को ख़त्म कर दूँ यह कह कर के कि करना ये अल्टीमेटली नचिकेता जी को नहीं है, ये मुझे करना है अपनी यूनिवर्सिटी में, मेरे प्रोफेसर्स को करना है, मेरे टीचर्स को करना है। और इसलिए तब तक हमारा काम नहीं बनेगा जब तक कि यूनिवर्सिटी लेवल पर ये समझ नहीं बढ़ेगी कि हम यहाँ क्यों हैं, किस लिए हैं। केवल नीति से काम नहीं चलता।
I'll just make only one minute comment. I think one of the vital functions served by a forum like this is to create a national debate. Any important issue such as education, in India probably there is not such a very vigorous tradition in the recent times of engaging the entire nation into a dialogue. So whether if this ultimately will expand into a more larger debate at every level, engaging different stakeholders, and it becomes an active participation and reflection by the different components of the society. So that will be one important function of such a meeting.
Yes.
Sir, very clearly you have presented what can be done. But we should also realize what has degraded us to this level. As the last speaker indicated, we went to the level of 37% of gross national productivity in the global system. What degraded us to this level, even after 66 years of independence? We had our C.V. Raman, and afterwards we had some of our
Please
own
ask question. We
Yeah.
all know all this. Yeah.
So, you know all these things, but you have left land contributed wisdom is the one which we have lost. That's the reason why, even with the 33 crore of population, we were always expecting something from others. But today we are self-sufficient, but we are neglecting the rural population and the land contributed
So please
wisdom.
question, sir.
Totally. That is the
Question.
question. Nothing is there in this
Okay.
proposal
So
on
the question is
agriculture
that
or
about the rural there is
wisdom.
nothing in this proposal. Yeah.
Sir, I have a question. So this policy document is talking about improving teachers' quality. Nicely worded. Can I have some more elaboration? What is in thought? What action plan is in mind to actually improve the quality of the teachers? When in most of the NCR universities and colleges, the administration, the management are taking faculty as low as 15 to 20,000 rupees per month, which is lower than the basic wage rate set for the skilled manpower. There is a dichotomy
Yeah,
in terms
correct.
of payment.
I will answer to this because that was supposed to be the main theme of this session. And in the policy document, there are 2-3 indications given on this. Example has been taken for technical education because we have had a big jump in engineering colleges, technical colleges, without paying any attention to what is being taught there. So this particular document is first trying to address the issue of training technical teachers and saying that just having a PhD and giving them a job in technical colleges is not going to serve the purpose. So this is one parameter. And what they are saying is that this kind of certification should be established that rather than a PhD,